Have you ever sat back and looked at the world and think about how big the world actually is? Could you imagine? Other countries seem like other planets. We are so far away, and in many cases, their culture is so much different than the culture of our own. Imagine how far states and countries were for us decades and centuries ago, how unconnected the world was, and then all of a sudden, the world changed. Now we are able to connect with people hundreds of thousands of miles away, as well as learn about their culture. Globalization has played the biggest part in all of this. In Lisa Nakamura's Where Do You Want to Go Today, she starts off immediately saying that on the internet there are no infirmities, no gender, no age, that there are only minds. This pure democratic form of communication is touted as utopia, a pure no place where human interaction can occur. Every day people are learning more and more things about different countries and all the different cultures each country is associated with. Each culture is unique in its own individual way, and they all offer their unique twist to music. Without globalization and the introduction of internet, people from the other side of the world would not be able to access music and videos that are popular here in the United States. I'll be focusing primarily on rap music, and how other cultures around the world have imitated the US culture of rap, and how they have started to rap in their own dialect and language, while still keeping their cultural roots. The Middle East is one of the main places where rap music has spread. Middle Easterns are usually strict when it comes to personal expression, but globalization has slightly changed that by bringing MTV to the Middle East. Dana Bataji even talked about it in her reading I Want MTV, stating that it was bound to happen. Given globalization's boost of celebrity obsession around the world, it was only a matter of time before the world's biggest name in the music and youth entertainment industry would tap into the consumer-hungry but conservative Middle East. The difference that Bataji talked about was how, in spite being connected to and aware of Western trends, Arab youth, especially those who have not had a Western education, are undoubtedly Arab and feel strongly about this identity, which means they don't want to become completely Westernized. They want to hold on to their cultural roots even if they are rapping. A good example I found was a rapper named Narcissus, who had a video called Hamdalullah. He is one of the most popular artists in the Middle East, and his video had a whopping 799,000 views on YouTube. If you compare his music video to an American rap video, you will notice the differences in clothing and how much more relaxed he seems to be. During the video, he shows all the types of people of the Middle Eastern descent. In one of the still shots, he shows a woman wearing a hijab, which just symbolized to the world that he is from the Middle East, but because of globalization, he now knows about the rap music culture and he is making a living from rap. As Nancy Morris told us in The Myth of Undeveloped Culture Meets the Threat of Imported Media, music and food provide ready examples of multidirectional cultural hybridization and globalization. You can clearly see the American influences in Narcissus' video. He raps in English and has the same type of beats that Americans rap would have. The differences are clear as well. The chorus of the song is in Persian and is in a dialect for Middle Easterns to understand and relate to. Strictly Americanized programs and networks have seemed to fail in the Middle East, which is why it's so important for the cultures from the Middle East to not get too westernized and maintain their core culture and identity. Marwin Crady mentioned how it was hard for television shows that are from a different culture to thrive in the Middle East because they could not relate to each other. In her reading, Arab reality television, stating that for decades, Arab television had a warped relation to reality. Under the stifling control of the Ministries of Information, media institutions presented a reality that most listeners and viewers knew to be unreal. If they can't relate, they would not want to watch it. The Narcissus song, Hamdalullah, was also featured in the American movie Fast 7, which was one of the biggest movies to release in America this year. That just goes to show how big globalization has become, and how people from all over the world are getting exposure in markets across the world, all because we now share the same interest in music. The internet has become a zone for people to share and listen to what they have in common with one another. In Manuel Castell's reading Networks, he stated that networks constitute the fundamental pattern of life, of all kinds of life. The network is a pattern that is common to all life. Music artists from all over the world are picking up the rap genre and spreading the word about the country and culture through music. You could type in almost any country along with rap in YouTube, and you will find a list of rap artists from their country that have millions and millions of views. This just shows how globalization has taken over, and people from all over the world are getting exposed to the music just by rapping. Something that started here in America has now reached all the way to the eastern side of the world. And we have globalization to thank for it.